Hello, everyone. This is your host, Susan Rosen, and my guest today is another Susan, Susan Bratton. And I am going to, as usual, ask her to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about herself. Welcome,
Okay.
Susan.
Hey, Susan. It's the Susan Show. It's good to be here. Thanks so
Bingo.
much for
Yeah.
having me. So my name is Susan Bratton, and I'm the CEO of two companies, a company called BetterLover.com and a company called The 20. And I, for the last few decades, have been publishing passionate lovemaking techniques and bedroom communication skills. And also through The 20, I have a line of sexual vitality supplements because there are three legs to a healthy, solid, firm base of one's sexuality, and that is understanding technique to achieve the results and pleasure that you want, being able to communicate and talk about your needs, desires, and feelings. And third is sexual health and wellness, because as we age, we run into problems. We, run into
Oh, yeah.
atrophy and other issues. And so those are things that are reversible. And what I'm really about is helping people have highly satisfying, heart-connected lovemaking that feels really good throughout their entire lives. I like to think about our longevity as not just extending our health span, but extending our sex span. Because the research shows not only that relationships are important in keeping you happy through your life and in good health, but that intimacy is very important as well. I recently saw a study, Susan, that 2,500 people were shown photos of humans between the
Uh-huh.
ages of 18 and 80. And there was this group of people that everyone guessed to be 10 years younger than their actual chronological age.
Wow.
And the
Uh-huh.
researchers for a long time were stymied about this cohort they called the super young. And they finally figured out what all of these people who looked a decade younger than all the people who were their same age, what it was they had in common. And it was that they had frequent and regular intimacy, as much as 3 times a week. They were
Uh-huh.
connecting with someone in an intimate way. And I
Uh-huh.
specifically did not use having sex as the word,
Right.
because a lot of people, the minute they hear that, they almost feel like having sex 3 times a week is unobtainable for them. Like, I can't do that.
Uh-huh.
And that's because we equate sex with intercourse. And though
Yeah.
intercourse is wonderful, and my 44th book coming out is called Orgasmic Intercourse, How to Have It. It's not the only thing. It's the intimate connection, the physical pleasure, the
Yeah.
holding, the loving touch, the slowing down of our heartbeats, the looking in each other's eyes, the feeling cared for and caring, plus things like great orgasms, which don't have to just come from intercourse, that are really, really, really helpful for our longevity, rebooting our nervous system. The amount of blood that goes to the brain during those climax experiences, just lights up your brain, all over your brain. And so the vascular experience, the oxytocin and neurotransmitters that are created,
Yep. Yep.
all of
Yep.
these things are just so important for our long-term health. And so that's a study that I just really like to cite, because but with that caveat that I don't like to use the word sex even as a
Right.
sexpert, because it sends people
Yeah.
right down the wrong lane of the highway.
I agree. I agree. It has a totally different connotation
Yeah.
than you
Intimacy.
know, intimacy.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, and
Physical
affection.
intimacy, affection, connection, pleasure. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
So that's
yeah.
me.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, we're all done.
Yeah. Good.
So, I mean, everything you said, I totally agree with. I'm not even sure where to ask a question.
Yeah.
Um, so you were saying there that you're actually talking to people and getting in connection with people in a lot of different ways, right? And
Yeah.
not in the ways that a lot of people might think.
Well, I'm not a psychologist or a psychotherapist, so I don't really have people coming to an office or Zooming and Skyping me. and telling me about their problems in the bedroom. Because you need a therapist for that. You need, if you have problems, if you've had trauma or shame or whatever it might be, incompatibility with a partner, what have you, you need a therapist for that. And I sure love therapists. But that's not my business. My business is actually helping people transform having sex into making love. The signals and the models that we have in our society are either they come from religious repression, or they come from things that look good behind a television screen, but aren't really serving people, or they're pornography, which is really not created for the benefit of women. Almost everything that's sexual is not created for the benefit of women, frankly, so we end up in a society where we think sex is intercourse, or, and so what is that? That means women never get enough quote unquote foreplay. I don't even like that word. I don't like the word foreplay. It means what comes before intercourse. And we women we have as much erectile tissue as our male-bodied partners. In our vulva, we've got a banana's worth of erectile tissue wrapped around our vaginal pocket. And it takes about 20 minutes to get the blood flow into it, where it takes our male-bodied partners 2 minutes. And they also they have a much greater bath of consistent testosterone than we women do, so they're generally hornier and faster to be turned on. And so pretty much everything that's out there is really at a disservice to all of us, no matter what our gender is, because it doesn't really tell the full picture. And so a lot of what I do is I explain to partners how to make love, how to slow down, how to connect hearts. Like one of my most popular books is a book called Sexual Soulmates, The 6 Essentials to Connected Sex. And the way that I figured out what the 6 essentials were is that for a couple of decades, I answered people. I have a sex tips newsletter. It's at betterlover.com.
Okay.
And people get on my newsletter and they get my free sex tips, and they see some of the programs and things that we have for sale. And you never have to buy anything, or some people have purchased everything I've ever made. It doesn't matter. It's all good. I'm here to serve. And they email me, "Hey, Suze, I have a problem." It's always like, I've been reading your emails for, 7 years, and I've bumped up against this problem, and I love your advice. It seems like you're always willing to give advice. And I'm like, yeah, I am. And so I just answered people. I've been answering people's emails, and then of the last probably 8 or 9 years, DMs, right? And all of that. And people trust me because I've been here consistently providing, great techniques and communication skills and sexual health and wellness information. And when they ask me questions and I answer them, I always say, report back. Tell me how my advice worked. And so I have been able, you spend 20 hours a week communicating with people all over the world, across the gender spectrum, from every culture, of all ages, about their sexuality and the things they understand and don't, and where they run into troubles, and what happens, what are the big issues, and you get pretty good at understanding what it is that people need to know. And that's really what Sexual Soulmates was. It was like, if I could give you a very simple roadmap to go from friction, we're done. Well, it wasn't really good for me, but it was good for him. Oh God, I guess I have to do it, or he's going to be grumpy, that kind of thing. We can go from that to, I'm making dates with him because I can't wait to be together again. It's so mind-blowing and fabulous, and I'm so turned on, and my sex life is incredible. And my friends all look at me like I must be some rare bird, but I'm having incredible sex and I love it. And it just was learning what to do. That's really what it is. And so that's how I ended up doing what I'm doing, how I operate, and why I call myself the intimacy expert to millions, because I really have, with all the videos and ebooks and audios and podcasts and speaking from the stage and talking to people on the daily, just really been able to be touched by a lot of lives, had the honor to gain the trust to help people, and just I'm this kind of like really just tell me what you need to let me tell you what you need to know. Let's keep it
Uh-huh.
simple. Try this
Uh-huh.
stuff. And they go,
Yeah.
oh my God, that was the issue. That was the problem. That's what I didn't know. Because
Ah,
we don't have love making education in our
you
world, you know?
think? You think?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. No, that's and I'm assuming that the men are as excited, pardon the use of the word, but
Yeah.
about learning and all of this, and hopefully working with their partners
Yeah. Well,
in finding out.
men love sex tips. They come for the sex tips. They stay for the communication skills. They don't realize that they need them until they
Right.
realize that there is such a thing.
Yeah.
Most people, they don't make noise, they don't moan, they're not talking to each other, they're not asking for things, they're doing the same thing over and over. They're kind of in a rut.
Uh,
And so when you can
yeah.
break those habits of, just kind of silent sex that doesn't really last and isn't that great for both parties, if you can get
Mm,
past that to fun, playful adventures that, you never know when you get in bed together what you're going to want to do, but you always have a great time. You come up with whatever feels right in the moment because you have
uh-huh.
all these fun things that you've learned how to do together. That's really that's where I like to get people. I like to get them to
Hmm.
that place where they're just comfortable. There's no anxiety. They know whatever they do, it's going to just be just like, oh my God, I can't believe that was so great. That's what I like to create.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a good place to end up for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have some that are more explicitly for people that are older,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
like you and I?
Yeah. Well, at
Because some things, the
61,
body changes.
yeah.
It's not a negative, it's just life, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say at 61, I'm having the best sex of my life. Um, One of the things that I've been very fortunate is that I have been really focused on genital rejuvenation and making sure that I'm
Mm.
not just taking care of my body and my mind, I'm taking care of my genitals as well.
Uh-huh.
So, we women, we do have lubrication loss, incontinence, we have loss of orgasmic intensity, loss of
Mm.
sensitivity. Um, Things just don't feel as good as they used to as you age for many women. And
Hmm.
I'm a spokesperson for a company called FemiWave, FEMIWAVE. And
Uh-huh.
that's a woman's treatment that
Yeah.
is acoustic wave technology. And so essentially they
Huh.
run this little wand over the genitals and it does this kind of like microstimulation of the tissue that brings in
Mm.
growth factors and rebuilds the tissue to reverse atrophy. And so it helps in thickening the vaginal lining. It helps in
Mm.
increasing the pelvic musculature again because it
Mm.
starts to sag and lose collagen, etc.
Right.
It reconstitutes the erectile tissue systems of the vulva,
Mm.
and it plumps up the tissue too because it begins to get flaccid as we age. And so
Okay.
all of that brings in new blood supply. And our
Uh,
genitals really run on blood supply. And so
yeah.
when it brings all that new blood supply in, the nervous system can grow back where it was retracting from the
Ah,
atrophy. The
okay.
tissue gets thickened, and the vagina is not a gland, it's not self-lubricating. How it
Mm.
really works is blood flows to the pelvic bowl, and the
Mm.
plasma fluid seeps through the vaginal mucosal lining and wets the lining to create the
Okay.
lubrication.
Okay.
So we need all that blood flow restored for lubrication and reversal of incontinence, as well as for reconstituting the vulval tissue.
Uh-huh.
And FemiWave does that, which is,
Hmm.
it's extraordinary that we have that in today's modern times. We have that available. And then I also recommend a vagina device that uses it's at vaginadevice.com. FemiWave is at femiwave.com. If you go to /Susan, there's a little bonus thing because I'm a spokesperson. But I
Okay.
went to them and said I wanted to be a spokesperson.
Uh-huh.
I love what they're doing so much, these
Mm,
companies, that it's
mm,
my honor to let people know about it because I am a trusted person. I want people to know what's not good. I don't like CO2 lasers and RF devices. They're just intravaginal. They don't take care of the whole vulva. They can cause burning and weeping. They're
ooh,
just not, they're too strong, and
mm,
they're not full. They don't do the whole vulva. So I
mhm,
don't really like a lot of those things, but I like the vagina device, which is an at-home device that uses red light therapy. So
hmm.
it actually goes inside the vagina, red light, and
Oh,
it
wow.
also uses warmth and vibration. And
Huh.
what's nice about the vagina device is that it helps reconstitute that vaginal mucosal lining. It helps with tone in the pelvic bowl, and the warmth helps with recollagenation, and the red light helps with the glycogen,
Okay.
basically your vaginal microbiome. As we age, our glycogen stores diminish, and we can
Mm.
get more bad bacteria than good bacteria because the good bacteria need the glycogen. They
Oh,
eat the sugar of the glycogen.
okay.
So for a lot of women with loss of estrogen, they're also
Hmm.
suffering more UTIs, more vaginal infections. They're just more delicate. Everything's thinner. And so I like estrogen replacement, intravaginal estrogen replacement. And
Mm.
I also really like the red light because they work so beautifully together. If you
Oh,
can't do estrogen, you
okay.
can often do DHEA. There's a
Uh-huh.
really nice product. It's called Glow Below. Dr. Michelle Sands. She's a girlfriend of mine. And that's
Uh-huh.
a really nice vaginal serum. There's a
Oh.
lot of nice things coming out that help with just
Hmm.
making sure that your genitals are working not just like they used to when you were young, but even better, because as we mature,
Yeah.
we get better in bed. We get more comfortable. We get more experience. We've tried more
Yeah.
things. We let go of our body image issues. What are we going to do? Like beat
Yeah.
ourselves up over getting old? No, we're going to embrace our age, enjoy
Yeah.
the wisdom that we get. So if we can keep
Hmm.
ourselves healthy with things like FemiWave and the vagina device and stuff like that. And for
Hmm.
men, I recommend Gainswave and the penis pumps.
Hmm.
Penis pump called the Whopper is the one that I really, really like because it has pumps can be novelty items, Chinese novelty items. A guy will buy one to try to reverse his atrophy, or to, he's shrinking as
Hmm.
he ages. And it won't have a release valve. It won't have cylinders that are sized correctly for his penis. It won't have a good hand pump with an accurate readout, so you know
Uh-huh.
exactly how many pounds of pressure you're using, so they hurt themselves or that doesn't work, or
Oh.
there's like a million things wrong with junky
Hmm.
products.
Hmm.
And I wrote a book called The Pumping Guide. It's at pumpingguide.com, that explains how to pump, what the protocols are, what to watch
Hmm.
out for, how to reverse atrophy, how to even enlarge your penis by
Hmm.
consistently pumping. The penis luckily is very much like a muscle. The more that you use that pump,
Which
the
makes sense.
stronger and
Yeah.
firmer your penis gets, the more vascularization is
Hmm.
generated, because the pump is a vacuum device that's pulling the blood from your body into your penis. And as men age, they get very flaccid. Their firmness goes
Mm.
away, and they stop having nighttime erections.
Hmm.
And when they stop having nighttime erections, that's a really, really, really strong indication of cardiac issues coming down the pipe.
Oh.
And so the penis, if it stops having 4 to 6 nighttime erections, if he's not waking up with morning wood, then he is essentially staying in a contracted state, a flaccid state, and everything just shrinks and atrophies. But when he uses a pump
Oh.
and he keeps pulling more blood in, pulling more blood in, pulling more blood in every couple of days, that's getting this flush of blood, pretty soon you're getting new capillaries growing. Then the nerves
Huh.
come back and his sensation loss goes
Uh-huh.
away and he starts to have sensation again. Over time, if he pumps, especially in conjunction with doing the Gaines wave, acoustic wave treatments, that
Hmm.
combination allows him to generate all this new tissue in the penis and in the base below the abdomen, and
Hmm.
bring all that blood flow in. He'll start to actually be bigger than he used to. He'll get, the penis will get veinier. His hard-ons will become firm again, and he'll be able to maintain his erection. So
Uh-huh.
people who used to have to give up intimacy, this is what happens when couples, for one reason or another, usually a health related issue,
Mm.
can sometimes it's betrayal, but often it's health. It's like 80-20. They stop being able to have intercourse and they just stop being intimate. They just completely stop because they don't want
Yeah.
to start something they can't finish.
Yeah.
Instead of continuing to do the things they can do and going and getting these kinds of remediations, these treatments
Yeah.
that reverse all those problems. So I really like people to understand that these, what are called sexual regenerative therapies and treatments, work and are available, because you've got to keep that three-legged stool solid. The techniques, the communication skills that you're learning and getting better at as you age, with the reversal of the atrophy of aging, so you have really good sexual function. Then you're looking 10 years younger than all your cohorts, because you're the one having hot sex in your 70s and your 80s and your 90s, because we can have sex, great sex, until the day we die if we're motivated to do so.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Interesting. Interesting. Huh. Okay. I'll go along with that. And I'm not complaining at all, believe me. So you were saying you don't typically do one-on-one type of coaching kinds of things.
I
You're
just
you're
answer
more in
questions for free.
groups. Yeah, yeah. And write books.
Yeah, write books. A lot of books. 44.
Yeah. One for each whatever could go wrong, right?
Well,
And
it's
how
not
it
even
can go
that.
right.
Let me give you an example. Let me give you examples of some of my
Uh-huh.
books and programs. And maybe that'll be
Hmm.
like, oh, okay, this is the one I want to know about. Because what I've found is that people want, sexually, people are kind of all over the map. I never know what it is you're going to need in your life right now.
Hmm.
And that's why over the course of the decades, I've built a collection of solutions. So I talked about sexual soulmates, the 6
Hmm.
essentials to connected sex. I have a free gift called the Soulmate Embrace, which is
Ah.
a hugging and holding technique. I have
Mm.
something called the Sexual Soulmate Pact, PACT, like an agreement, that is
Uh-huh.
a communication technique that helps
Ah.
people not feel embarrassed to ask for what they want and to actually kind of get in touch with what they want. Because a lot of people are like, I don't know what I want. I just know what I'm getting isn't it. So,
Hmm.
and I don't want to hurt my partner's feelings. So that
Yeah.
solves that problem. I have a program called Revive Her Drive for men in relationship whose wives and girlfriends no longer want to be intimate with them. They've been
Hmm.
basically having sex with her like she's a man, and they didn't
Hmm.
know what she needed. So I teach them to give her what she needs to want him again.
Hmm.
That's very popular. I have another one called the Passion Patch. A lot of times when women aren't responsive to their male partners and they're kind of like, don't even want to be touched anymore.
Oh.
I teach men how to touch a woman, touch
Mm.
techniques that help get her to want to be close to him again, because she got tired of him
Hmm.
grabbing her. wrong.
Uh,
If it didn't feel good to her. I have Expand Her Orgasm Tonight. It's a clitoral stroking technique for couples that you can do till the day you die. That's gives women an incredibly expanded orgasmic experience. It's a very light clitoral stroke. I have another program called Female Liquid Orgasm for G-spot awakening, trauma healing, and female ejaculatory pleasure, which all women can do. I have another program called the Seduction Trilogy that is essentially how to move your partner toward more pleasure with integrity, rather than using whining, begging, manipulating, whatever to try to get sex. I have a program called the Steamy Sex Ed Video Collection, and that is 8 videos. And it's interesting, I still have DVDs for people who live out in the rural areas where they just can't get broadband, I mean, a lot of people don't have broadband connectivity still.
Yeah.
I know we're trying to fix that in our country, thank goodness. And it shows sensual massage for him and her, manual, like kind of erotic massage, oral pleasuring, sex positions, over 200 techniques that couples can watch together.
Wow.
It's kind of like the antidote to porn. It's this notion of heart-connected, passionate lovemaking, not sex, right? I always try to get away from the friction, the porn, the just the junky stuff that we're so bombarded with, and get into sensual, loving pleasure that is so satisfying for both people. And so that's another example of something that I've written. I mean, there's so many, it's hard for me to, honestly, I can barely remember.
No, that's
all,
okay.
But it gives you an idea of like communication skills, as well as pleasuring techniques. Some are books, some are videos. It's been really fun to kind of assemble the constellation of them over time to, like, oh, okay, now I need to give people this thing. Like one of the latest things I created was something called Sex Life Bucket List. It's at sexlifebucketlist.com. It's free. It's a download. It's a download of a PDF that you and your partner can do. Make 2 copies, one for each of you. And a video, a 40-minute video where I walk you through 48 different, what I call erotic play dates, fun things you can do together in the bedroom. Because one of the things that I realized is that people don't necessarily just want techniques. They want ideas for fun. And so you go through this with your partner, if you're lucky enough to have one. You go through this with your partner and you write down, okay, this is an A. No, that one's just a B. No, this one's a C. An A is, I would definitely want to put this on my bucket list. I would love to do this with you. B is, it wouldn't go on my bucket list, but if it was on yours, if it was an A for you, I would do it with you gladly. And C's are, it's not for me right now. And I always say never, because we evolve, we mature. And so the thing we used to look at it and go, why would anybody want to do that, is now, what's an A on your bucket list? And so I really like that. That was a really fun new one that I did, where I thought up I thought up as many ideas of fun things as I could. And what I like about that is that, there are these yes, no, maybe lists on the internet, but a lot of them have kind of freaky, weird things on them. And my brand is very loving. It's, it's very kind of
supportive,
monogamous couples just wanting to like spice up their sex life. That's my, that's kind of on brand for me. So I wanted it to be something where couples wouldn't be like, ew, that's gross,
Where'd you find that one?
Yucko. I wanted it to be like a really fun thing you could do. I call it your first erotic play date together. You go through the process, you watch the video together, and you do your little things together, and then you share your lists. It's exciting.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'll have to keep that in mind.
Yeah. If you do the Sex Life Bucket List, email me
Uh-huh.
and let me know what your top ones are. I always love to hear what everybody's top ones are. It always helps me understand what it is that people want most, what, you know, kind of where they are and what's going on for them. So I'd love to know yours if you ever decide to do it.
I'll have to get my husband involved in this.
Yeah. I'd like to know what his are too. It's so fun to see
Yeah.
what a couple's top A's are. And your husband will surprise you and you'll surprise him. And there'll be ones
Oh,
on
no
there that
doubt.
are like, oh, right, we said we wanted to try that and we never did it. You know, it's some of them are good reminders too. And then
Uh-huh.
instead of like, oh gosh, we've got to have sex, it's more like, I can't wait till Thursday night when we're going to do takeout and do an erotic play date. I can't wait. You know, you have something to look forward to. It really zhuzhes up your marriage or your relationship.
Okay. I will take your word for it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Didn't know it needed any whatever the word was that you said.
Zhuzhing.
Zhuzhing. But you never know, right? You never know.
Where are you based, Susan?
I'm in California, just north of San Francisco.
Oh, where?
San Rafael.
Oh, in San Rafael. I'm in Mill Valley.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I know. Small world. Yeah. Yeah, I love
Well,
it up
good.
here.
Well, we'll have to meet for lunch.
Yeah. When you do your bucket list, we'll meet for coffee and you can tell me what's on it.
If I can get him to agree to that, of sharing the information on that.
Yeah, is he a little bit more close to the best?
I'm not going there.
Okay.
I'm not going there here. We'll talk about that some other time.
Sounds good.
So, yeah, how funny, Mill Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the whole area is aging, so you have a great customer base here, I'm sure.
I'm a global brand.
Oh, no, I understand that, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's yeah.
Yeah, but you're right that in Marin County, in Marin County particularly, we have older people who are very, very healthy. I mean, you go into my town,
That's right.
you go into Mill Valley and you go into downtown Mill Valley and it's 50, 60, 70-year-old people in
Yeah.
athletic wear who look extremely healthy. They're out there on their mountain bikes. They're,
Yep.
they're hiking the hills. They're just in great
That's
shape.
right.
We've got a ton of great gyms around here. Have you been out to the Jaizen Longevity Center yet on Shoreline?
No.
Oh, it's fascinating. I just got back from there. That's why I had to put my sweater on for our vidcast because I was just in my workout top.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jaizen is this amazing facility. It's very similar to what Dave Asprey's doing with his upgrade labs,
Okay.
the biohacking upgrade labs.
Yeah.
I just got back from speaking at the biohacking conference. I talked about sexual biohacking at the biohacking conference. And yeah, I just went there this morning. I work out pretty much every day with a trainer, my trainer, Jake, down at Studio 30. I do an hour of work, a 50-minute workout with him, and it's a lot of free weight work. And kind of like cardio, high intensity interval, free weight kind of stuff. So strength training, trying to keep these muscles really strong.
Yeah, I know. I need to start doing that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I got to do it every day. And then I go over to Jaizen and I get on the Vasper system, which is this exercise bike. And that uses cold and blood flow restriction to build up more lactic acid to send more testosterone and muscle building to your body. And then I do the cryotherapy 3 times a week and the red light bed 3 times a week.
Oh wow.
And it's such a good add-on to the bodybuilding stuff that I do. It's high intensity interval and the cold and then the red light. It's just a fantastic combination. I'd been working out pretty solidly. I had to recover from a long haul COVID and I was very ill for a long time. And I used the working out daily with a trainer to kind of get me back again. I couldn't even walk up my stairs by the time I was done with by the time long haul was done with me. And
yeah,
so I started out quite quite like no balance, no strength, no stamina.
Mm-hmm.
I'd
Mm-hmm.
lost I had muscle atrophy,
I
etc.
understand. Yeah.
And when I started working out, it was great. But then when I started going to the Jai Zen Center and doing the Vasper
Mm-hmm.
cryo and red light, it took me to a whole new level of muscle strength
Ah.
and stamina. And it's
Uh-huh.
amazing what a lot of these kind of biohacking and longevity strategies can really do to add to what you're already doing too. Yeah, I just really
Absolutely.
love it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it all goes in with what we were talking about earlier. So
It
there you
does.
go.
Yeah. Yeah. If your libido is the other side of the same coin as your
Mm-hmm.
overall health. And
Mm-hmm.
I think about health as an equal combination of mental and physical.
Mm-hmm.
Someone might diagnose you with torn ACLs, but it's how you think about repairing them is as important
Mm-hmm.
as what you do to repair them. It's a head
Absolutely.
game, health, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And as time goes on, there's more and more solutions, I guess, if you want to call it that,
Yeah.
that are coming out into the world that you can pick and choose what works for you and what appeals to you, right? To stay healthy,
Yeah.
get
I think
healthy
these
and
are pretty
stay
much
healthy.
gold
Yeah.
standards. I'd look at things like Femi-Wave and Gainswave, the vagina
Mm-hmm.
device, the penis
Yeah.
pump, the cryotherapy, the red light, the Vasper,
Mm-hmm.
or the Carol bike is another version of Vasper, or, and bodybuilding, just really like
Uh-huh.
moving some weight around.
Yeah.
Those are those aren't even like those aren't flavors, those are standards. To
Yeah.
me, those are standards if you're
Uh-huh.
lucky enough to have access to them. Not everybody
Mm.
does, and I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But there are
That's
things that you
true.
can do to approximate things, like if
Uh-huh.
you live by a lake and it's cold water, get on in.
I know. I hate cold. I hate
You get
cold.
used to it. The
Cannot do
cryo
that.
the cryo locker that I go in is
Uh-huh.
negative 124. And I go in it
Oh
for
my
5 minutes
God.
and I stand there. My ears are covered. My face is covered with a mask. I have got
Uh-huh.
socks on. I've got a little wrap on,
Mm-hmm.
gloves, and slippers so you don't freeze your nubbins. And I just usually I think about what I'm going to cook for dinner. And I go through it in my mind. Okay, first I have to do this, then I have to do this. Oh yeah, I want to do that. First
Mm-hmm.
got to put the potatoes in or whatever, the sweet potatoes in or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it gets me through at least 3 minutes. And then this next 2 minutes, I just think about what my priorities are for the rest of the day. And then by that time I'm done and I'm out. And you can
Wow.
feel yourself chilling down and you can feel it kind of chilling your tissue. But I feel like it's taken all of the skin damage that I had from the COVID virus and
Mm.
really tightened everything back up again. It was very,
Wow.
very, very weathered from
Interesting.
it because it's a
Yeah.
vascular disease. So it kills your skin, kills your
Oh
tissue.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Cold. There's a lot of things I can do, but cold is not. That's why I don't never lived anywhere that it's that cold. California born and bred. That's it.
Yeah.
No, no cold weather. Mm.
Well, you're living in the right place because San Rafael has the best weather in Marin, and Marin has fantastic weather.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, it really does have the nicest weather. It's not too
Hmm.
hot, not too cold, not that foggy. Super nice.
Yep.
Yeah, you're in the
Yep.
right
Yep.
spot.
Yeah.
You did
Yeah.
good.
I know. I know. I know. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yes. I ended up here because of my husband, actually.
Oh,
So, because I was living in Oakland
oh, okay.
and he was working up here, so
Yeah,
it's like, okay,
good
move
move.
across the bay.
Yeah.
So, anyways, well, let me wrap up here
All right.
and say thank you very much.
Sure. My pleasure. Thanks for having
And
me.
yeah, no, it's been quite informative.
Good.
I'm assuming that probably all this information is on your website. Yes.
Betterlover.com is a great place to start. Yeah,
Betterlover.com.
you can sign up for my
Okay.
newsletter there. You can follow me on Instagram. It's my name
Okay.
at Susan Bratton. Those are two good places to find me.
Okay, great. Well, I'll put both of those into the show notes
Great. Thank you.
in case people are looking for it.
Good.
And let me say that neither of us are doctors. This is not to be
Yep.
seen as medical advice.
Good.
And with that, thank you again. And I will see everybody next week.